Welcome back to Saturday Social, where we are joined by Zach and Luke. Right, lads, the January transfer window is officially open. There's some big players linked with moves. So we've got the Saturday Social whiteboard out, and we're going to get Zach to lead this one. You know the rules, Zach. We're asking you to pick one player every Premier League club must sign in January. We're going to go in alphabetical order. Luke, we're going to get you involved, give your thoughts on Zach's picks. Let's start with Arsenal. Who are you gone for?
I think Arsenal should be going all out for a lights-out left winger. And there aren't many better than Kenan Yildiz right now in Europe. He is one of the best young wingers in the world. Very, very effective, really good kind of goals and assists so far this season. Still developing, can still improve, but would make an impact right now for Arsenal. Look, he's going to be expensive. But I think one thing that I'm sure many Arsenal fans want this season is to, when they get to the end of the season, and for them, I'm sure that they want obviously the Premier League or a Champions League. They want to have no doubt that they couldn't have done more to get there. And that left wing spot right now, the starting left wing spot, I think Trossard's obviously done a very good job when he's played, but it's something that can be improved, and it can be improved by a lights-out left winger. And I think Kenan Yildiz could do that fantastically.
Can you see that happening? Obviously, Juventus, he is one of the most highly rated young players in the world. They do not want to let him go, especially in January. The price tag will be a factor. He's only 20 years of age. He's a brilliant player, but can you see that happening in January?
I think it's ambitious, and like you said, Arsenal need to go all out, because as much as they're defensively probably better than City, I think in terms of goal scoring, City have, by a decent way, outscored Arsenal this season in the Premier League. Striker situation's a little bit, under pressure. So, yeah, I think they need more goals, and I think the wingers are definitely important for Arsenal.
Yeah, I've got to say that there are some bold shouts in this section. You've got some rogue shouts, some good ones as well. We'll go to the next one.
Villa? Villa's an interesting one, because I think maybe, actually, on retrospect, with the news around Harvey Elliott as well, they could have possibly got another player for that kind of position. However, that news came out before I'd made these transfers. But what I did think was, who's going to play up top if, say, the worst happens and Ollie Watkins got injured, or Ollie Watkins goes through another dip in form? And I don't think they have anybody outstanding to do that job anymore. And somebody out there who has a track record of coming in and being a very good guy up top, a facilitator as well, is Serge Guirassy at Dortmund. He's not having the best season at Dortmund. I'll put it out there right now. He's not. But he has had some fantastic years in Germany.
Still their top
He's
scorer.
at Stuttgart, wasn't he?
Yes, indeed. There's a really interesting release clause, actually, where I think it's like Arsenal, Chelsea, it's like the top 8 clubs in the world can buy him for like 50 million. However, Aston Villa aren't one of the clubs that are listed there. So it would be, I think, a little bit less of how his season is going. But for a backup striker, to make sure they can try and get Champions League football, I'd be going.
It is an interesting point that Zach makes. A good point you make about the PSR. It was obviously fascinating comments from Emery about the Harvey Elliott situation and the fact that they like him. They like him as a player, like him as a person off the pitch as well. But that they are probably not going to buy him because of the game appearances that would lead to finances. So I think finances will be an issue for Villa. So I think that's a point well made. Let's go on to Bournemouth then. Yeah,
Bournemouth are in a very interesting position, because one of the guys that I'm shipping off to another club, it's Anton Semenyo. It's not breaking the news. They look like he's going to go to City. They need a replacement. They need somebody that can play on the wing. And this is a rumour that's out there. Abdul Fatawu, a really, really good player at Leicester, had an unfortunate year last year with injuries when they were in the Premier League. But somebody that looks really, really frightening and has the ability to be a goal-scoring winger. Bournemouth are going to have to do a good job at that to replace him. Bournemouth's recruitment, by the way, in the last few years has been exceptional. And the fact that they're already linked to him, I think this could be a
very highly
really
rated. Screaming, didn't he, against Ipswich from his own half.
Semenyo, by the way, Bournemouth are welcome to him tonight.
We will come on to Semenyo.
We will.
But the next one, I think, is a rogue shout. So let's get your reaction immediately to Richarlison being suggested here.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk at one point of him maybe going back to Everton, I think, and I think that's could be an option. But I think Brentford
with Thiago,
Richarlison,
I think he needs to explain this one, because he's Spurs' only current fit striker. Solanke's still out. Colin Wine has been playing different positions, and Brentford have got a striker that's doing well. So what's the thinking behind this one?
The thinking is Spurs don't want him to be their starting striker. I think they're going to buy a striker in this January, and I think he won't be the starting striker for them now. When the guys are fit at Spurs, Solanke, I think he comes in straight away as the starting striker, and Richarlison becomes the bench option again. And for him, I think he can provide something at Brentford in the fact that there is always a worry Thiago could get injured again. He was out for a long time last season, and Thiago has a lot of penalties scored. Like I think he's been a really good addition. Obviously, joining actually the previous summer or transfer window. And I think he's been a really good addition, but I don't think he's been like lights out incredible. I think he had a really good game against Manchester United. But there have been some games where they could do with another option up top. And I think Richarlison this season has shown in bursts. He's been decent. He can have moments for them.
He is
goal scorer.
You do love to say top scorer though, so this could be
we have sold top scorer the last 2 seasons.
3 seasons in a row.
3 seasons in a row,
quite nicely then if Richarlison
One
went.
name I don't think you mentioned that I'd throw in there is Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
He's kind of, with all due respect, rotting away at Chelsea, he's not getting a chance. I think he's on big money, but any of the London clubs, I think that's what it whittles down to. Could take a gamble maybe on him.
And his contract as well is coming towards the latter stage of it, and he probably wants maybe one more. Club.
And he wants to stay in London by a lot of reports as well. It's interesting to see where he goes. Let's go on to Brighton then.
Brighton, and again, this is thinking kind of ahead of the world where Djellab moves on from Brighton. Obviously, we might mention him in a little bit. And that's Hayden Hackney. It's one of the best midfielders in the Championship. So good on the ball, does a little bit of everything really nicely. There is still but I think he needs to maybe improve a little bit of his defensive game. But he's only young. He's one of the, as I said, one of the best midfielders in the Championship. And it fits that model that Brighton do really well. They can bring him in.
Yeah.
He's already been rumoured times. Actually, some slightly bigger moves as well.
Borough fans won't want to see him go.
Burnley, there's a few different positions you could end up signing for them. I've gone for centre-back, and for me, I think Tosin Adebayo is a player that Chelsea would be willing to let go if the right offer came in. I think for him, if he wanted game time, he'd be willing to take that move as well. So for me, I've gone for him with Burnley.
And does that mean you, as a Chelsea fan, then you want that January sign to be a centre-half? You're about to suggest one, so...
Well, yeah, you're right, yes. But the more so is that, for me, this is the replacement, like, Achapong takes his place, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But for Chelsea, one of the things that's been talked about is Levi Cole. I think it could have either been a centre-back or a striker for Chelsea in January. And you mentioned the experience before about Chelsea. You mentioned about adding... Experience isn't always just like a 30-year-old player. It can be somebody that's played a lot of football at a young age. And Nico Schlotterbeck at Dortmund is that guy.
Yeah, he's 26.
He's super talented. I mean, he's being linked to Real Madrid. He's being linked to so many massive clubs at the moment. Adds a little bit of experience as well to that side. Can play with the ball at his feet really well. Adds, as I said, the kind of... He's been part of that Dortmund leadership as well.
Yeah.
I think he'd slot in quite nicely.
Luke, let's get your thought on that. Because you were saying earlier about the fact to balance, and it's an interesting point. He is only 26, but he has had a lot of experience. You think that's important that they balance the youth with some experience?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, age tells you a bit, but if he's played a lot of games, I mean, at City, Donnarumma's only 26.
Yeah,
probably scared quite a few people. So he can definitely have a lot of experience at that age, and I think that's the sort of sign. And
famous family as well, his uncle played for Freiburg, older brother is a pro footballer, plays for Augsburg, and his cousin Sandrine appeared on the 7th series of the German edition of Love Island. Did you know that? There you go. We'll move on to Palace. I thought that
Linked
like
with Manchester United. Kobe Mainoo. Crystal Palace, the big news at the moment, obviously, the injury to one of their best players, Munoz. They need, Klein is okay, but he's not the level of Munoz. I think going over to Bayern Munich and getting Bowie there, I think that room is actually already out there. It makes a lot of sense. I also think they could go and get another centre-back for the future of Mark Guehi. I would be looking at someone like him.
To be honest, I think Palace probably need quite a few signings because they've struggled in Europe. Didn't do too well, came 9th, didn't make the top 8, and then you look at their games they've played after the European ones. I think they've lost five or six of those. So.
I have to say though, I love the Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Luke? It's a record signing.
Ambitious.
He was obviously Spurs' top scorer in all competitions last season as well. Thoughts on that as a signing?
Very ambitious one. I think given what he did at Tottenham as well, he scored obviously the winning goal against United. I think he's obviously achieved fairly well at Tottenham.
Yeah,
and it's only a pretty recent signing as well. One that threw up quite a bit of drama at the time. So I think it's a very ambitious signing for Palace.
I think it would be a good signing for Palace.
Let's go on to
always be in Spurs fans' hearts as well for Bilbao.
This is a little bit out there because I don't know if they sell him. But again, it's about having fun. It's about having fun. Joshua Zirkzee to Everton. Everton, again, when I made this, Barry hadn't kind of had the little bit of form that he's in right now. And I still really think Barry is good. It's Beto, the one that I struggle with at Everton more so. And I do think there is still a very good player in Joshua Zirkzee. I think he's a really good facilitator as well. That's what that Everton side has in the likes of Jack Grealish, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, Iliman And so I think he'd be a very good person to link up with them. Obviously, I think he scored a fantastic goal as well recently for Man United. I think it's a player that Man United will be willing to let go of if they get the right fee for him as well. And so I think it's a move that could end up quite nicely. The only thing is whether he wants it.
Yeah, heavily linked with Roma and Italy.
Roma,
He was Serie A Young Player of the Year before United signed him, wasn't he? So I think that route back.
It's not really worked too well from it. I think he's got 5 league goals in 45. So
it's that difficult role, isn't it? He's not really a 9. He's not really a 10. He's kind of
saying that when he came in, and it's a strange one, isn't it? I don't think it's what United need, to be honest. So maybe.
Okay, Fulham.
This is interesting considering how well he was doing last season. And in the summer, he was linked to some massive clubs. But he has slightly struggled so far for Fiorentina this season. And it's Keane.
Because they obviously had the bid rejected midweek, didn't they, for Ricardo Pepi? So they are in the market for a striker.
And they should be as well. I think they should be. I don't think any of their strikers so far this season have ripped up the league. Like Munoz was somebody who's been spoken quite confidently for a long time, and I don't think he's been pretty good this season. And obviously Fulham didn't have an amazing transfer window in the summer.
Yeah.
It's somebody who I would look at another return to the Premier League as something that he could, prove his doubters wrong. And I think it would be a really interesting one, and somebody that would improve that Fulham squad massively.
Leeds is an interesting one as well.
Leeds. This is a brave shout there.
Yeah,
this is a passion shout.
This is a passion shout.
Yeah.
Because Dom's flying.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin's flying.
Yeah, he is. But we also know he doesn't at times as well. If you look at the track career in the last few years of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he does go through patches. And I don't think
his injury history.
And his injury issues, exactly. And I don't think adding another striker is that bad. Like somebody that'd be willing to kind of compete with him. And for me, Troy Parrott would be great. Would be absolutely doing a great job there. He's doing well.
Flying this season.
Yeah, flying.
9 goals and 11 appearances.
Had the incredible stuff for his country as well in the qualifications for the World Cup. I think you'd be able to get him for a reasonable fee. I think Leeds fans, it's a move that they would look at and say the worst was to happen, they went down. He'd be a really good player.
Leeds done very well this season, though, to be fair.
They are flying.
I can see them staying up.
So it's changing formation. Let's go to Liverpool.
Yes.
Do you want to reveal
Is this an obvious one? Stick it out.
It is obvious. But
Guehi.
what I'll say for this quickly is the reason they have to do it now is because if they don't do it, they don't get him in the summer.
You think
I think Real Madrid come calling. I think Barcelona come calling. Arsenal can come calling. City can come calling.
A lot of
Chelsea.
options.
It becomes, and especially the Real Madrid one, the Bayern Munich one. That is very tough for a player to say no to Real Madrid if that has happened. And if he's available for free, what did Real Madrid love doing? Getting free.
Luke,
time.
where do you think he will end up?
I think he will end up at Liverpool. I do think City and Arsenal will have something to say about that there, and I think this is the chance for him. It was a major blunder not picking him up.
Yeah,
agreed.
Obviously, the problems Liverpool have had at the back this season, major blunder not picking him up at the end of the summer transfer window. But if they get him now, it'll recover it a little bit. They definitely need to get him, though. They definitely need him.
So if he's not the City suggestion, is it the obvious one? We spoke about it earlier,
It
right?
is.
You're going to Semenyo. Stick him up. Should we get Luke's thoughts on this as a City fan first? It looks like this is very advanced. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, when, not if. Thoughts on Semenyo as a signing and what that does to the title race for you?
Yeah, well, at the start of the season, there was a lot of talk about Arsenal and Liverpool being the title race, and City had a bad start. We had they've lost 2 of our first 3 games, and I think a lot of people kind of forget about that because obviously now we're 4 points off Arsenal. But when you think about the bad start, we've been pretty good since.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly what we need. We need just something that will strengthen us in the big moments, the big games. Doku will probably be playing on the left, so it is difficult. Doku's been so good this season, but we're going to have a lot of games. We're still, fighting on all four fronts. He will get a lot of game time, and I think it's a good sign. I think it's goals and assists guaranteed, and that's what we need in a team that no one really expected to compete for a league title. If we want to compete for a league title, that's the kind of signing I want to see in January.
Chips him with a lot of numbers. I think only Haaland and Thiago have contributed to more goals this season. I think that's a massive factor. And I think you make a great point about squad rotations, that the amount of games that you'll have, they will all play at some point.
And we're starting to see City
they have got quite a few players, though.
They have got a few.
We're thinking about Savinho.
Do you think any of them go?
Injured.
Because obviously Spurs were linked with Savinho, Spurs linked with Marmoush as well. Do you think any of them go?
It's a really strange one. I think Oscar Bobb's now injured. He's not really done too much. Savinho's now injured, so in terms of winger options, I think we probably do need one to come in. I do think probably one of Savinho, Oscar Bobb, I mean, there was talk of Marmoush leaving.
Bob
Yeah.
is so
Strange.
good as well.
Yeah,
So
it's
good.
a strange one, but I'm really happy if we can.
Okay.
Let's go to United.
Look, it's being spoke about all the time, and it's a position of needs. If they can go and get Carlos Baleba now in January, it'd be fantastic.
We saw more links this week.
Yeah,
They are
and it
gonna
makes
try.
sense. It makes sense. I don't think he's the fee that he was in the summer. To be quite honest, he's not been as often used at Brighton this season, though he more recently has kind of found himself back in that starting 11. Is somebody that would genuinely improve that Man United side like that. Can play with several different players there. You know, it's still somebody that they can look towards the summer and getting other assets around him, but he would improve United this season. Look, I think there were other issues at United, more so around the manager side, but he's a player who can be developed into one of the best. He's somebody that has so many different assets to his game. It just almost feels like it's we're going to see this signing happen eventually.
Do you think the midfield area is the area United have to target in this January?
Yeah, I think the midfield. Yeah, I think United have scored quite a lot of goals this season, which is what they struggled to do last season.
Yeah.
So I think going forward they've been pretty good, but I think, yeah, I'd say defensively, and especially in midfield, I think that they're struggling, especially with Bruno Fernandes being injured. I think they've been all over the place. Manu not getting any time at all is strange. And yeah, United actually played Brighton, I believe, in the FA Cup.
They do, yeah.
If they lost that, they'd be on for a 40-game season, which is
Crazy.
pretty poor, isn't it?
What are you smiling for,
I
Brent?
knew he always does his research on Man City and Man United.
Let's go to Newcastle.
Love it.
Newcastle suggestion, Zach?
Yeah, Newcastle, I think a lot more Newcastle fans are coming around to something like this, where they want to get a bit more of a 10. They've got the wingers, but they have really robust midfielders, like Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, of course, Joe Linton. But they're missing someone that has a little bit of that creative spark, somebody who can play in between the striker and the midfield. Like, there's a world, I guess, where Voltemada does that as well. But I think Charles Ketelera has had a little bit of a revival at Atalanta. His career went a bit south, obviously, before. But when I saw him play against Chelsea, he was fantastic. He can also drift out wide when needed. But he can be this spark where I think he would look at a Newcastle move, a fellow Champions League club, and look at that move as a positive step, joining the Premier League as well. He's somebody who a couple of years ago was considered one of the wonder kids out there. And I think the fee, look, it might be slightly steep, but I do think it would really improve that Newcastle side.
Forest?
Yes, Nottingham Forest. I struggled in the fact that I think they've had some injuries at fullback, and that has affected them at times this season, where they've not maybe had the adequate depth to properly cover this. This is actually the brother of Desiree Doué, who plays for PSG. He's currently at Strasbourg, Guehi Doué, a right back, really, really good, attacking right back as well. He can kind of develop that side going forward. I think it would be a really fun move. Really, really
Sunderland?
So Sunderland, I thought back to their summer signings so far, and the ones that they've all been really, really good. They've all worked out really, really well, apart from the left winger they got from Brighton. And I thought, look, somebody who almost moved in the summer, can play on that left wing, does a really good job at it. He almost went to Fulham in the summer. It didn't happen in the end. I think he'd go to Sunderland and have a really big effect. I think he could start a decent amount of games for them. He is creative, but he's also a very, very great. He's very, very good at cutting into his right foot off that left wing and having shots at goal. And I think he'd look at the Sunderland move as a really good step towards.
Interesting. He's only 19 as well, Torrich, very young player. Let's go on to Tottenham.
The next one.
Interesting. I mean,
don't even talk about it.
That's a bold
Kobe
shout, that.
Mainu.
Don't even talk about it.
From Man United
Keep
to
his
Tottenham.
name out your mouth,
Mainu.
bro.
Look,
There's a lot of, Spurs obviously need a winger, need a striker, so is that the position Tottenham need the most? B, would Man United sell to Tottenham? C, in January?
relegation candidates, I guess, aren't they?
Wow.
It's an interesting one, because I do wonder if you're Mainu, you think, I can outlast this manager. I can outlast this manager and I can be starting for Manchester United in a year's time or so. He is such a talent. Like, we've seen it multiple times. We've seen it for England.
Started the Euros fine.
Exactly. And he now can't get into the Manchester United side because, because of Amorim. Amorim doesn't fancy him, essentially.
So you're saying this is a loan move?
No. I think any club right now could almost take advantage of the situation and go and buy a really, really good talent, of someone that has huge potential, someone that is already a finalist for the national team. And I think Spurs, look, I like Bergvall, I like Guehi. Guehi is still really young. I mean, Mainu's young as well. But there is a world where all three of them can play together as well. But I think he's somebody that would fit into that Spurs side nicely, get a nice amount of game time. Look, Spurs need more than just this.
You think it is a bit of a market opportunity? Because Man United obviously do have their own financial issues. Clearly, he's not favoured at the club.
Yeah, especially with the PSR stuff. I think it's a really weird one, though. Like I said, he was a Euros finalist. He did a lot for England at like 18 or whatever. And it's just strange that, you know, United used him so much in that first season when he broke through. Now he can't get a kick for whatever reason, and there's all this, you know, drama with his brother and all this stuff. Yeah, it's strange. It's strange, though.
All right, let's put him down.
Yeah. I think he'll get a loan at the worst.
Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see it at Spurs.
He's got to stay, man. He has to stay.
I agree. I agree.
I'd love to see that at Spurs, mate.
I bet you would.
I'd love to see Kobe at Spurs. West Ham.
West Ham, they've got 2 strikers in for the door now.
Yeah.
It seems like they're getting. So I thought another player that could help. He needs game time. You know, this is the World Cup's coming up. He's been spoken about for the England team for years. James Trafford.
Good point.
James Trafford, I think when he joined Spurs, probably didn't know that Donnarumma was also going to be sharing the dressing room with him. Man City. That might have changed his decision if he did know that. He is, a young goalkeeper that needs game time. West Ham, you know, I think need a new goalkeeper. I think they need a new defender. I think there's even a shout for a midfielder as well. But James Trafford, loan move for 6 months. I think that would be.
Why would you let him go though? I feel like he's playing that many games.
It is weird because, you know, Pep does rate him very, very highly, and financially it always made sense to bring him back. He did so well at Burnley last season. We'd sold him for a decent chunk, bought him back for less than double that. So we've not really shelled out a lot of money on him. I know he would have wanted to be starting the games this season. Donnarumma comes in, which he was very ambitious. We've probably got arguably the best best number 2 in world football there, which is, you know, obviously not good for James Trafford. He's not really playing. He'll get more minutes later in the season if we can go through in the cup competitions, but that's not what he wants to be. He wants to be a number 1. I can't blame him if he wants to leave.
Yeah.
Do you think
but
he will leave?
I think a loan move would make a lot more sense. Having said that, I don't think Pep wants to let him go. We've got Bettinelli as a number 3. We've still got Stefan Ortega at the club, by the way, who's number 4, cast out.
That's crazy.
Probably looking for a move. So maybe, you know, a team looking for a goalkeeper might go after him, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I could maybe see a loan move, although I don't think Pep, you know, the management would allow that.
It's a good point you make there, Zach. When he signed, obviously he was brought in with expectations of number 1, number 1. At the time when Donnarumma wasn't there, and obviously Donnarumma then came in through the door, so slightly unfortunate.
When he joined City in the summer, I genuinely reckon he thought he had a good chance of possibly being in that England World Cup squad.
Finally, Wolves.
Wolves, everywhere. Goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, forward. Marcus Edwards isn't really playing at Burnley that much. Somebody that I think adds a lot of creativity. I think he'd be a nice sign if they go down and play for them as well. But it's tough with Wolves. I do feel
hard one, isn't it? That?
I think Wolves is basically impossible. There we have Zach's suggestions for one player that each Premier League club could sign in this January window. Let us know what you think of that at home.